Am I the asshole for laughing at my brother's girlfriend's psychoanalysis of me? I, 17 male, am really into collecting colognes. I have 30 plus full-sized bottles as well as 50 plus smaller sample-sized decants, 3 milliliters decants. Some of this admittedly is Christmas, birthday presents from friends and family, but I also buy with my own money, trade bottles I do have for bottles I want, and have a cologne review TikTok page that's popular enough for some companies to send me free bottles, so I don't want to give the impression of being daddy's money. Anyways, my brother brought his girlfriend over, and I was giving her a tour of the house. We went to my room, she asked why I had so many cologne bottles, and I essentially said I always enjoy smelling new scents and am never satisfied that I've found the best scent when there's ones out there that I haven't smelled. She asked if I was a fuckboy. I said I don't think so, and asked why. She said based off of how I always felt the need to try out new colognes and could never settle with what I had being enough for me, I probably do the same with women. This made me laugh, and I asked if she had taken her first psych class or something. She got offended and asked me why I was laughing, and I admitted that I just frankly thought that was a really stupid analogy to make inanimate objects and living humans aren't the same. Am I the asshole? And tall loudly crying hand with fingers splayed light skin tone, what the fuck is wrong with her, OMG? Not the asshole. Damn, how many rides did you take that you think I'm like you? Anyway, I can recommend Davidoff Cool Water Oceanic Edition. Smells like you are standing in the wind near the coast after a storm. She said based off of how I always felt the need to try out new colognes and could never settle with what I had being enough for me, I probably do the same with women. Your reply is, I'm 17 years old. What the fuck do you think I should be doing, getting married and having kids? How old is your brother and his GF? Having interests doesn't make you a fuckboy, tears of joy. What an odd assumption. Not the asshole, but she sure is. Your bro better run far, far away, or he'll be sorry. Not the asshole, she might be projecting. Usually individuals project their own thoughts to other people when they try to figure something out, so she might be the unsettling one. Would be interesting to know how long your brother will be with her. Am I the asshole for vetoing putting an offer on my wife's dream house? My wife, 34F, and I, 38M, are shopping for our first house. We both put together lists of needs, wants, and deal breakers for our desired home. We both had similar lists in terms of needs and wants. Multiple bedrooms and good schools for when we have kids, fenced-in yard for our dog, no major renovations needed, etc. I only had one real deal breaker. I told her I would refuse to even put an offer in on a house that has an WA. My parents lived in an HOA when I was a teenager and I saw the amount of bullshit they had to go through all the time. There's no way I want to spend a huge amount of money and have to deal with that kind of thing for who knows how many years. The house could check every single box in our need and want list and I would still refuse to even try and buy it. Well, our search has not been an easy one. We have been priced out of a lot of areas that we were hoping to live in. And the houses that are more within our budget are not exactly what we're looking for. We've toured dozens of houses. Had offers rejected. Had sellers try to get us into bidding wars. We've argued, disagreed, and fought. It sucked. Last week our realtor sent us a home that was just hitting the market. She was excited because she thought it was exactly what we are looking for. My wife fell in love with the pictures and wanted to set up a tour. But as I was looking at the listing, I saw it has an WA. I told my wife that I don't even want to go look at it since I don't want to put an offer in. She decided to set up a tour with the realtor without me. She viewed the home without telling me about it, then came home and was all excited to submit an offer. She spent an entire evening trying to convince me that it's her dream house, and that we need to submit an offer before it's too late. She said there's no harm in submitting an offer just to see what the sellers say. I told her that she knows an HOA is my #1 deal breaker and that I find it pretty upsetting that she would go behind my back and do this on her own and then try and convince me to compromise my stance. She tried to downplay how much of an impact an HOA would have on our lives and told me that a little inconvenience from an HOA won't offset how much we enjoy our home. But she's never lived in an WA. She hasn't seen firsthand how nuts they can be and how stressful it can be for a homeowner. I reminded her that when we started looking, that we both agreed that this had to be a 2-yes decision. Meaning that if one of us vetoed a house for whatever reason, we wouldn't pursue it. And she knows that an HOA is my #1 veto reason. She's now super pissed at me for vetoing her dream house. She's telling me we will never find a house that checks so many of her wants and needs and that I should just let go of the WA thing and submit an offer. I told her she's letting her frustration with the process cloud her judgment and she's taking it out on me. You're allowed to both have deal breakers. So, regardless of what your deal breakers are, you are not the asshole here. That said, I know Reddit is a hate-filled rage goblin when it comes to HOAs. And there are absolutely horrible ones out there. But, there are also perfectly harmless ones. And there are even really nice ones that do a good job without being obnoxious. Want to know how to tell? Go take a walk in the neighborhood on a Saturday. Say hi to people you meet. Pet their dogs and talk to them about the neighborhood and the WA. If it's garbage, people are going to be itching to tell you their horror stories. Not the asshole. Just wondering why is your realtor showing you homes that have HOAs if you have expressed it's a non-starter for you? Not the asshole. No way in hell will I live in a house where the neighbors get to decide what flowers I can plant in my garden, what color I can paint my house, choose how I receive internet, measure my grass, and rule on the pets that I want. My daughter and her husband were considering a property pre-COVID. I pointed out all the things in the WA covenants that directly conflicted with the things they did or wanted to do. No vegetable gardens, no fencing backyards, no children's play equipment, no dogs weighing over 30 pounds, and about a dozen others. The realtor said, but they don't enforce those restrictions. But they're there. They can choose to enforce them at any time. Are you going to dig up your vegetable garden, tear down your fence, and get rid of 2 out of 3 of your dogs? I only had one real deal breaker. I told her I would refuse to even put an offer in on a house that has an HOA. HOAs. Gotta go with not the asshole on this one. My parents lived in an HOA when I was a teenager and I saw the amount of bullshit they had to go through all the time. You were absolutely clear from the get-go. Your wife needs to understand your boundary just as you have to work with hers. I really hope you both can find a house that makes you happy. I agree with the 2 yes take. Not the asshole. Also, I understand your wife feeling panicked thinking she found her dream house after so many bad ones and that there will never be another perfect house. She's starting to get fatigued and latched onto this after seeing so many bad ones. There will be a 2 yes house if you keep trying. My husband and I saw 18 houses before we found the perfect house. Now that we are settled in our dream home, we laugh about how horrible it all was and how glad we are that we didn't settle. Give her a pep talk about how you two didn't settle for anyone but the perfect partners when you found each other and you want the same for your perfect house. The house will come. I'm literally selling my condo at a loss to get away from the fucking WA. Dispute about flowers is involving lawyers, so not the asshole. Am I the asshole for asking money for the food I bought for friend's wedding? I am 28F living in D with a well-paid job, currently supporting both myself and my BF, who lost his job. Recently, I was invited to a 2-day Spanish-Italian wedding as the bride's witness. The 2-day event was held 3 hours away from the city and included a wedding ceremony, lunch, party, and next day a barbecue to celebrate the relative's birthday. We were told not to bring any gifts as the couple has planned second wedding in Italy for 80+ people and rented out a mansion. The groom's family is very rich. As a witness and best friend, I always went above and beyond by helping her in everyday life. For the wedding I rented a car for plus €250. I was picking up guests and helping a lot with logistics, bringing people from and to the airport. However, things took a weird turn when I arrived to the barbecue and was told that there is not enough food for us and we have to go shopping. Fine. It happens, we made a list of groceries for ourselves. While we shopped, I got calls from the hosts to buy more food. My boyfriend was even asked to get fresh bread. At the barbecue, I was asked to help with cooking, which I ended up doing for 1 hour. The food which we bought was distributed around all tables, meaning that we kinda sponsored the barbecue which we were invited to. The stupidest moment was that when my boyfriend asked for bread, he wasn't allowed to take the fresh bread he bought. Fiancé's relative was not doing much, he was suffering from hangover from previous night. Others were hanging around and enjoying the setup. I had a nasty feeling, though I was happy that I could help. Afterwards, the couple went on a honeymoon and asked me to take care of their plants for 1 month, which is totally fine with me. I prepared them a nice bottle of champagne to celebrate their return from the honeymoon. As I spent a lot of money on food, I wanted to get some reimbursement. It's not like I bought food for only my BF, my friend and me, but for all others who could have gone shopping as well. I added the expenses to splitwise and assigned 2/5 to the bride. Despite my efforts and expenses, I was harshly criticized for being a terrible friend, for not bringing a present, not washing dishes, or contributing enough financially. I was told that I should be thankful that their friends allowed us to stay overnight. We got them a bottle of expensive wine as a thank you. Then her fiancé accused me of trying to get their money and suggested I check my finances. The groom even implied that I didn't do enough for the wedding. However, I had already followed their words not to bring a gift and had been supportive in various ways. I was at work and all of this destroyed me emotionally. In conclusion, I felt unappreciated and hurt by the accusations and misunderstandings from my friend and the couple. I had genuinely tried to help and contribute, but it seemed like my efforts were not recognized or valued. Not the asshole. Use the champagne to water the plants and cut them out of your life. I'd very clearly tell her that this is her wedding and while you were willing to help with your time, it should not fall on you to pay for their wedding. It's as simple as that. If she pushes back, if she doesn't apologize, then you need to really think about this friendship and analyze if it's actually a reciprocal friendship. Would she have done so much for you? Info. The response seems to be all from the fiancé and not your friend. What does your friend think? Not the asshole. You realized what kind of friends they are when they showed you their true colors, though. Be thankful for that. If they insist not paying you back, tell them to consider it your wedding present, then drop the acquaintance entirely. They aren't your friends. They treat you as a servant. I would let their plants die and drink the champagne myself. Get some self-respect and new friends. Not the asshole. Some people who are very rich stay that way because they take advantage of other people. Like making them buy food for a whole group. Do you really want these people in your life for them to continue to take advantage of you? It will now always be at the back of your mind. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for ruining dinner by calling my wife's friend's Virgo moment a tantrum? My wife's oldest friend's birthday was yesterday and so their friendship group threw her a birthday dinner at a restaurant. I was invited as a +1. So full transparency, I've never liked this friend. She's always seemed too dramatic and over the top for me. Always attributed everything to her star sign. Insufferable comes to mind if I were to use one word. That said, I usually just ignore her and let her be whenever we're in the same room because why not? Yesterday though she was making a big deal because they got her desert order wrong. T-boyfriend, we did wait like 45 minutes for it to arrive so I get that, but she just kept complaining to the group and then stopped herself and said she was going to have a Virgo moment. Whatever TF that means, and I said under my breath but clearly too audibly, "You mean a tantrum?" She asked me to repeat myself and the cat was clearly already out the bag so I did. She asked what I meant by that and I explained there's no such thing as a Virgo moment. Just a grown person throwing a tantrum which devolved into a young back and forth, ruined mood and us leaving early. I don't think calling it a tantrum was wrong because it is one, but choosing to speak up at her birthday dinner is probably where I dropped the ball and fucked up. I was calm throughout and didn't escalate things, but even then, it didn't have to be said because there really was no outcome where things would have worked out well. AITA? ETA. Saw this come up a couple times so thought I'd explain. I went because my wife asked me. All partners were there. The dinner was paid for by the friend group. She wasn't screaming and throwing plates, but she was really hammering down on complaining about this and had to keep getting stopped going to the kitchen despite them apologizing throughout for the delay and the mix-up. If her birthday was yesterday, then she is a Leo, not a Virgo, and her whole life sounds like one big Leo moment. However, you called her out for throwing a tantrum before she ever threw one. In fact, you did it right while she was trying to calm herself down about a frustrating situation. You're just as much of a fan of stirring up drama as she is. You nailed it. She's a bit insane and blames it on her star sign. But yeah, pointing this out at her birthday party was bad form. You are the asshole. You're invited to a gathering for someone you don't like. Instead of politely declining, You show up and then respond to her in a rude, snarky way when you already know what she is like. Yes, you blew it, buddy. Should have stayed home. You are the asshole. The fact that you were calm throughout means nothing. You didn't need to say anything. I don't know what you're used to, but if I had to wait 45 minutes for a simple dessert, I would have walked. Edit anyone who makes their astrological sign their entire personality is an AH. Virgo here, and I guess I missed the memo about being allowed moments? Not the asshole.